Alright guys, bear with me 1 minute. Alright guys, so we're going to go over tonight's charts that we're going to look at, and the economic news that's supposed to come out tonight, and get ready for the session. So hopefully you made some money last night. It was good. We had two correlation trades which we covered nicely on those. We had a correlation between the Aussie Swiss franc to the Kiwi Swiss franc. Picked up in the neighborhood of 40 pips on that. And then we had a correlation with US dollar, Canadian dollar correlated to Euro CAD. That we picked up about on a consideration that the Euro CAD was smaller than dollar CAD. We picked up about 16 pips on that trade. And then we had a directional trade in dollar yen, which was, you could consider a scalp or a swing. I would consider it more of a swing than a scalp. Picked up about 14 pips before shutting it down last night. Wanted to be out before this morning's durable good orders. But if you did hold it through the durable goods orders, the thing rocked about 40 or 50 pips for you. So US dollar, Japanese yen was good. So overall, overall it was solid. With all combined, we were up about close to 70 pips. And really didn't take much risk on two of those trades because there were two of them were correlations. So I'm just going to show, I got Periscope and Meerkat going at the same time, so I'm just going to show the economic calendar for tonight. Not a whole lot on there. Okay, we do have CPI data coming out from Japan. I'm not 100% sure about that consumer confidence coming out from Great Britain because that's kind of an odd time. So the calendar might have been wrong, but there's definitely CPI coming out from Japan in about in about 2 hours. So we'll be getting ready to trade after that. These are the pairs that we're looking to trade tonight and the direction we're going to be looking to trade them. And that's the website if you guys want to get involved with us. And by the way, that website's going to be getting redesigned, and we're going to be introducing something really cool for everybody, hopefully in the next week or so. Just going to show everybody on Meerkat, so bear with me on Periscope. So that's what we're looking at economic calendar wise. And that's what we're looking at trading directional wise for tonight. Things can change, of course, between now and 7 to 10 o'clock tonight on the East Coast. It's only 4:30 here. So we'll keep that in mind. All right, so first one we're going to look at is Aussie Canadian dollar, okay? We're going to want to trade this to the south side. So let me back this out for you guys. And we're going to look at this over about a 2-month period. And you can see the direction has been down, right? So we're going to want to trade it to the south side. And you can see we drew the short-term trend line here, right? So what we're going to want is for a scalp, we're going to want to see a close below the short-term trend line. And if for those of you that haven't watched these videos before, the green and white is the currency pair. The blue is our algorithm, okay? The blue is the algorithm with a forecast going out 24 candles. So on the hourly chart, it's forecasting out basically one business day. So what we want to see is a close below the short-term trend line, which we did get this afternoon, okay? Unfortunately, when we got it, the algorithm was giving this forecast pretty much going sideways and bumping back up against the trend line. And right now, it's 96% chance. Let me see if I can show you the percentage. So the algorithm is pretty confident that this thing's not going to do a whole lot tonight, but every hour we're going to get an update. So at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock tonight, 9 o'clock tonight, if this thing is still below this short-term trend line and the algorithm gives a forecast of it moving lower, an 85% chance or higher, because we like to see 85% chance or more of that algorithm predicting it's going to be correct, we'll be taking it short. So definitely one to watch tonight. If you're not in our WhatsApp group, please join our WhatsApp group so you can get the signals. You can also download our indicator, which anytime the algorithm comes out with a signal, it pops right up on the indicator, okay, right on your MT4. That's the fastest way to get the signal in the WhatsApp group. It does come but it's going to be on a little bit slower. Waiting on the email. I don't know, Rob, what email. When you signed up, you should have received the indicator because it's all automated. We responded back to you earlier today saying to check your spam folder. So if you check your spam and you still don't see it, you know, let us know. Yeah, I understand. You went to the site, you filled out the form. Did you fill out the let's just make sure you're filling out the proper form. Let me go to the site myself. So when you're on the site, if you go to this tab here, pop up, okay, it says right here, click here to try our indicator. It has a short video if you want to watch how to install it and what it's going to look like. And if you click there, it's going to then ask you to fill out this information. And you fill this out, it'll automatically get sent to you. It'll automatically be emailed you. Basically a welcome letter, a introduction welcome letter. You also receive the download file and the download instructions, okay? If you have not, Rob, if you have not found it, if you don't see it in your spam folder, let us know and we can manually email it to you. Okay, no problem. You could try again. All right, so let's get to the next one. Next one is is Aussie dollar. Let me just refresh this. Aussie dollar, if I back this baby out over 2 months, we're going to see it's pretty much been weak except for this recent rebound that we've had here, which was pretty damn strong, right? But with that said, we're still going to look to take this thing to the short side. So we have our short-term trend line here because the overall theme of Aussie dollar is to the south side. So we're going to want to be on that side. We want to be on the momentum side. So we're going to wait for a close below the short-term trend line. We're going to wait to see the algorithm close, the currency pair close below, the algorithm give a forecast of it going lower, and 85% chance up in this right-hand corner. Let me show you guys again on Periscope. It's right now only showing a 70% chance of this forecast playing out. So nothing as of right now, may not get triggered tonight, but then again, it may. So we'll see. Next one's Euro Aussie. This one's pretty interesting, okay? Euro Aussie, if I back this out over basically a 2-month period, it's really tough to say. It was looking a lot stronger a few weeks ago. We've recently had it pull in. But the reason I say it's interesting is because it's creating a wedge here, as you can see by these two trend lines that we have drawn here. So this thing's gonna bust one way or the other. Right now, it looks like the algorithm is really showing, actually it's only showing a 50% chance of it coming down to the bottom and really trying to hold it. So it's really difficult to say what this is going to do. So our hands will be tied until we get one way or the other, until this thing closes either below this trend line with the algorithm pointing down an 85% chance higher, or we get a close above this short-term trend line with an algorithm pointing higher and an 85% chance of it being correct. So right now we're going to sit on our hands and we're just going to kind of wait and see on that one. Anything pound related, we're pretty much staying away from this week, just with all that news that broke out over the weekend about the UK maybe leaving the Eurozone. We actually had a couple of chances to do a correlation trade with pound yen to dollar yen, but with that news, that could make that correlation go out of whack. So we really just stepped aside. So, you know, there's been some decent setups with euro pound. There's been some other decent setups, pound yen, like I mentioned, even pound dollar. But we've just been kind of stepping aside, let it do its own thing. The vote isn't going to be until sometime in June, I believe, like June 20th. But we'll kind of see, you know, This was the first week right after all the big news broke over the weekend. I think it was either Saturday night or Sunday. So we'll let that news go. We'll see what happens this weekend. If no news comes out this weekend, Monday, and then if we get another chance to do a correlation, we'll put it on. This one is Euro Yen. This is another one that we're going to look to trade to the south side. Okay. Now this is a pretty good setup. So if we back it out over 2 months, you could see it's definitely to the downside, right? Sorry guys, I'm Meerkat. I'm doing both here, Meerkat and Periscope, so I just have to catch up with both of you guys. So it's definitely to the south side. We've had a sharp rebound here over the past day, since yesterday, and we've drawn here a short-term trend line. And you can see it's been riding it. We've got a couple of touches, right? We've got 1, 2, basically 3 or 4 touches. Right now, we're waiting to see if this thing pulls back in. It looks like the algorithm is predicting that it's going to come back to this trend line, touch it, pretty much hold it, and try to run along it. We're not a fan of trading that. We're not going to try and trade it. What we're going to do, again, just can't hammer it home enough. We're going to wait to see if this thing will close below this short-term trend line. Close below it, we get the algorithm predicting a move down, and we get an 85% chance of that move being correct. We will be in the clear and free to take that trade. Why we don't like to trade it off this trend line? Because you never know when it's not going to hold. The other thing is, we know that the major trend is to the downside. How are major trends started? They get started by the big boys. They don't get started by me, you. They don't get started by a guy managing 10 million, 50 million. They get started by the big guys managing billions of dollars, the big institutions, the big banks, the big hedge funds, the big family offices. So if all we need to do is recognize that. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if this thing breaks, if this thing has been breaking down over these last 2 months, because it's Goldman Sachs or because it's SAC Capital or it's because of ABC firm. It don't matter to us. The only thing that matters is we want to jump on it when it is going to start again. During this downswing, we've caught some of the nice moves down, right? Right now, it's just taking this little trend up, this little correctional move up. When the trend starts breaking down again, we'll be on it like white on rice, all right? Euro dollar is the last one that I have on my watch list. This is another one that's pretty interesting. Let me back this out over 2 months. All right, we went over this one last night. We go back on this 2 months. We had this big consolidation phase, which lasted from the middle of December to really the beginning of February. And then we got this breakup. And when we had the breakup, we had this beautiful run up. And has since pulled back. And where did it pull back to? Right, basically the top of that consolidation range, which we have this red line drawn here for you guys. All right, and let me just zoom in on this a little bit. So it basically pulled into that top of that consolidation range, which we drew this red line. It broke it very briefly here, just a matter of about 35, maybe 40 pips or so, 40, maybe even 50 pips. But quickly rebounded. Within 2 or 3 hours, it rebounded. And we're back in, and we got this short-term trend line here that we've drawn. And so what's it creating here? It's creating a wedge, and we talked about this last night. It's not going to stay in this wedge forever. It's going to eventually break one way or the other, okay? No telling really which way it's going to break. So again, we're going to look for a break above it, the short-term trend line, close above it, and we're going to look for the algorithm to point higher with an 85% chance, or we're going to look for this pair to break and close below the support area like it did here, but also get the algorithm pointing down an 85%. When this broke here, the algorithm wasn't pointing down. The algorithm was kind of sloppy, and it wasn't over 85%, so we didn't take that trade. So we'll see what happens. It could happen tonight. Hopefully it doesn't happen when we're not in the office. You know, hopefully it happens either sometime tonight or sometime tomorrow morning. It could very easily happen overnight. It could wake up, come in the office at 7 and 7:30 in the morning and find it already happened. If that's the case, so be it. So really that's it. No correlation trades really to look at tonight. we're staying away from pound. I'll show you what was really looking good was, I believe it was pound yen to US dollar, Japanese yen. Yeah, this correlation is looking really good, but unfortunately, like I said, we're going to stay away from anything pound related because this is pound yen to dollar yen. Pound yen is the candles, and dollar yen is the what do you call it, chart? Point figure chart, or line chart, whatever you want to call it. The news broke on Sunday, started the week Monday, and you can see this is actually the news here. This gap we had, it really threw this correlation off, and consequently rebounded, and the correlation narrowed, and it would have worked out perfectly if you took it. Again, I don't remember what the algorithm was doing. We really set it aside and kind of shunned it because of the news. And you can see they've been pretty well correlated this week, even in the face of that news. But you can see here the correlation, they've become uncorrelated, right? So it's gotten wide again. Now this could be possibly from that news. Now, if news breaks tonight or tomorrow or over the weekend on the pound, similar to last weekend, this correlation could become even more uncorrelated. So we don't want, it's so tempting to put this on if we get the algorithm pointing in the right direction for either pound yen or dollar yen. But I'm just not willing to take that risk. So I want to get that news, let the market, it's had a week, it's going to have a week to digest it. If nothing new breaks over the weekend from the Parliament in the UK and over the weekend and then Monday, and if this correlation still seems wide and the algorithm's giving us the signal, maybe we'll put it on. Maybe if we do put it on, maybe we put it on a little bit less than we would normally would, just because of the maybe added risk there. We've been doing a lot of Aussie dollar to Kiwi dollar, Aussie yen to Kiwi yen, US dollar, Canadian dollar to Euro Canadian dollar. That was last night. We had another one last night, Aussie franc to Kiwi franc. Worked out, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, both worked out beautifully. So we've actually had more correlation trades than we've had scalp swing trades. Scalp and swing trades are directional. Correlation trades really reduce your directional risk almost to not quite zero, but reduces it greatly. So we'll see if we get, hopefully with the volatility in the markets, it's presenting a lot of opportunities for these correlation trades, which is right up our alley. So if anyone has any questions or want me to look at anything, we can look over. If anyone has any questions on correlations, we can do them as well. Personal thoughts on dollar yen. Really don't have too many personal thoughts on dollar yen. We've been, again, with dollar yen, we've been correlating it greatly recently with pound yen, and they do work. They work beautifully, and that's what we were just showing here. But with that news from the Great Britain, we're going to kind of stay away from it. We did scalp it last night on the long side. I think if dollar yen takes out these lows, so if I was to draw a trend line here, all right, it's not quite, I don't know if you, I think you can see it. It's not quite flat. It's a little bit of an angle. But if it takes out these lows, which is about, what is that, about 1080, it actually stopped 1100. This low back here is about right around 1095. So if it takes that out, if it could take out, say, 1080, 1075, 1080, 1075. I think she has a real good chance of breaking down. The sentiment is trader sentiment, or I should say retail trader sentiment, is a lot of traders have been playing this to the long side, much more so than to the short side. And when you look at sentiment, it's a contrarian indicator. Okay, so majority of retail traders lose money. The majority of retail traders have been trading U.S. dollar, Japanese yen to the long side. So you look at it as a contrarian. So what's going to happen is these guys that are not, that are trading to the long side, that are not just scalping. Like last night we scalped it. You're going to pick up 15, 20 pips, 30 pips, whatever. Fine. But if you're in it more for a swing, which most traders are in for swings, they're going to have their stops at either this low here or this low here. All right. So, and they may have it right on those lows, a few pips ahead of those lows, a few pips below those lows. So again, these lows, this low here was about 1090, 1095. So that's why I was saying if it takes out 1080, 1075, you're giving yourself a lot of room, 10 to 15 pips below these lows, which if enough stops get triggered, it's going to add fuel to the fire. And then some of those longs not only will get stopped out, some of them might even flip the script and go to a short side of the trade. There's going to be people shorting. We'll be looking to short. So that's my thinking on U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. To trade it from the long side for a scalp, that's fine. We scalped it last night. We were risking about 50 pips. We were looking to make about 40 to 50 pips. So it was a very low risk scalp in a way. So that's my thoughts on U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. Any other questions, guys? Meerkat and or Periscope? If not, we're going to wrap it up and chill out and get ready to start trading later. Oh, you're welcome, Rob. Hopefully you got the indicator emailed to you now. If not, we could always send it to you manually. But you should have gotten it because we haven't had it fail for anyone. So I don't know what was going on there. Anyway, so that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. Good luck trading tonight, guys. Join us in our WhatsApp group. You'll find it beneficial. And we're going to be changing the website soon, uniqueforexpro.com. And it's going to be, we're going to really gear it more towards traders to trade for us, right? So more where they're working for us rather than looking for signals. So they'll be able to trade for us. There'll be a potential to, if you're a consistently profitable trader and your risk profile is relatively low, in the future you may even be able to trade for our fund. So, okay, Rob, I figured as much. You probably got it in your spam. I had seen you filled out it a couple of times. So, all right. Well, good luck, guys, and we'll see you tonight. And good luck trading.